Let's talk about recess duty. We all know recess duty can be difficult at times because our kids really have a difficult time playing at best. And, tag to them is running into each other and pushing each other over, or maybe reinventing a video game because that's kind of their example of how to play. So when you say, do kids know how to play? Oftentimes the answer is no. So what they need is a lot of supervision and a lot of ideas on how to play. So some of the ideas we think of are coming up with structured games and maybe having a kickball station or having a swing station or how to play on the equipment station and really teach those kids how to use those areas of the playground. We can start that right in the beginning. I've talked with many phys ed teachers who have been wonderful at really doing separate lessons during their classes on how to play outside at recess in that very open, unstructured area. And so it's kind of deliberate, if you will, about teaching those skills. So a couple of other techniques that I use is I use something called cone stations. And basically, I put cones out on the playground. And they're not cones or boundaries for the children. They're cones for us. So it just reminds us on recess duty that there are certain places that need to be covered. So let's say you notice a cone uncovered. And if you see a cone uncovered, it means that another adult has gone over to maybe help some kids on the swing or break up a squabble over who had the ball or who got a point or whatever, and they're teaching them something. That means that somebody else has to meander over there and cover that cone. And what kids learn is that when they know the adults are in certain places, it's very predictable for them. So when they do get into a difficult situation, they can go to a cone station and find an adult. Sometimes it's difficult if we're all in one spot and not actually visible. One of the things we know is that kids will look sometimes before they do something wrong to see if they see an adult. It's kind of like what we'll do sometimes. I don't think I'll do something now. Let me see if anybody's looking. So we know kids are very good at that. So we want to be visible. I learned about this when I was a student teacher many years ago, and I was taught by a principal who said to me one day, she said, "Polly, you're going to be assigned to recess duty." And I was thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do recess duty. I mean, I remember teachers out there when I was a kid, standing and talking to each other and whatnot. And so I figured, well, that's what you do. And then she said something else to me that stuck with me forever. She said, very jokingly, of course, "If I were to lob a grenade out my window," she said, "and it took out all my recess duty staff, it would mean that you ain't doing recess duty." And I thought, well, I get that. And that was straight, and I'll never forget it, because it meant that recess duty means we got to be all over the place and be visible. So don't fall into that trap of sort of standing in one spot or talking to colleagues, even though we never get an opportunity to talk and we want to talk to each other. But really realize how much kids need us to either be covering cone stations, teaching how to play kickball, running interference on playground equipment, taking kids off of playground equipment and telling them, hey, you can't play on that today because you're not being safe. Whatever it is, just make sure it's purposeful when we're doing recess duty. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. I speak and consult on school behavior, and I love to help districts solve some of these problems. See you next time.